I've been reviewing some of my previous matches recently so I can edit wins for some videos coming up. And that usually requires me to go through, and if I haven't left myself notes on the file name, to watch at least a few minutes of the match and see what I did. And I was watching this one and I was just really frustrated with the way that I was playing. And so I thought I would commentate on it. And one of the benefits of recording your gameplay is you can watch it back and see mistakes that you're making, or maybe some decisions that you made that you wouldn't make again. And I figured if I was going to watch it multiple times, that I might as well talk over it and potentially provide some advice that not only helps me, but might help whoever watches it. So I ran up to the roof here after my buddy called this team out. I downed one. We didn't push. I down a second one. We don't push. And this is my first mistake I think I made in this match. I've only got one kill. I think that Risk It for the Biscuit has a couple kills, and we've already gone through our gulag. We're in the third circle. There's no reason to keep this position after downing this team, right? We don't necessarily need to push right up into their building and then get melted by vectors after these guys self-revive, but we could go take command of the situation. And part of the reason we don't, I think, is because we're playing with ground loot. We didn't have a lot of money up to this point. We actually had just come into this building and started looting and, made enough that we could have gone and bought one or two weapons each. And now we're in this cat and mouse with this team when I don't, again, consider myself a great player, but I think in this situation, I'm a better player than these two people on this team, but I'm really not showcasing it, right? Like, I'm standing out in the open. I'm not really pushing their positions when I know where they are, and they're clearly worried because they're running from building to building and they're not taking command of the fight either. And this is a suggestion that a lot of content creators that play Warzone have, is that you should take control of the situation, take control of the fights, try to command your engagements, because if you do that, then you're going to have the other team on the back foot trying to play defense, right? And in these Battle Royale modes, assuming you don't get pushed by a third party, generally is better to command the situation. But again, we're taking high ground, which is good, but we're in two different buildings. We're separated. We didn't push the ladder on this building after I actually had called out that they were there. I did take off the audio in this video because my buddy plays on Xbox, and we haven't tried using Discord yet through the Xbox so that I could run it through a different audio channel on my PC. Maybe that'd be a little bit better for editing, but if any of you know how I could, if there's a way to get the audio of the game on a different channel without going through all of that, without going through Discord, and just having the ability to adjust those in, after the fact, I would love to know that, although I don't think there is. So again, I'm taking shots. I'm not moving. I am using the cover to my advantage, and I am going to keep this area of the map in mind in future matches because the cover on top of these buildings isn't bad. And assuming that you're not, again, getting third-partied, could be great. So I'm using the wrong weapon in this moment. I should have switched back to the Icarus. That guy was out in the open for so long. I missed 3 sniper shots on him. There's really no excuse for that. And then he backs up into this building again. I'm in the same position. I've been taking shots. I haven't moved. I'm leaving myself exposed to not only this team, but anyone else who's watching this engagement. And I think just by luck of the chance, luck of the draw, like, nobody took us down. Shane did call out taking a couple of shots from the direction he's running now, but we really weren't in a lot of danger considering what we were doing, and then we go into cover where we can't see anything. So we lose all knowledge of our situation. Now we're on ground level, running through buildings. Again, just lucky here that we're not running into a third party that takes us down. So we should realize that in this moment, and we should also realize again that this team is running away from us. They're trying to avoid the engagements, and we could pretty easily push them. And we have another buy station in zone. Even if one of us had gone down, we could have had 2 more kills here. and we just let them run off to the right. This is probably the best moment, apart from, when they were in the buildings, popping from rooftop to rooftop, and we could have cut them off there. We could absolutely have been behind them in this situation. Instead, I elect to just take really bad sniper shots and break plates. Not really accomplishing anything except leaving the danger to our backs. And now we're in a situation where, like, all right, these guns not really doing it for us. We need to take this opportunity on this buy station to buy something. And if I could go back and do this again, I don't think I'd buy the RPK. I don't think my RPK build is the best build. I've been kind of tweaking stuff and going back and forth, and I don't think that this scope is what I want to use. I think that the bounce on my build is a little bit rough. But I pick up the RPK, and that's what I've got, right? I kept the sniper for some reason, and I've got my long range LMG. If this had actually been a player, that would have been a great corner to hold. I had a really nice peek. Person's coming around the fence, but alas, it's AI, right? So we decide, let's get in zone, and just by chance see this guy parachuting off, and this is where my build's going to really showcase that it's not the best. The bounce and the muzzle flash is it's just a bit much to shoot through. So break plates on that guy. We expected that they were going to take height here. I believe that there's a zip on the back of that structure, and we're really stressed in this match. I remember thinking, like, you just got to get in zone. We got to keep moving, Down one, break plates on the other. Again, we don't really take command of the situation, and we expose ourselves to this team, and just because they don't take command either, we make it out of here. We make it into the water. Now, I will say a tip for the water crossings. A lot of people try to avoid them, but if you get down on the floor of the water feature, you're basically invisible. And if you change directions, I know I didn't there because he called out that he had downed 2 players, and I finished him off, so I'm happy with that. But if you take advantage of that and change direction when you're in the water, then you're fairly safe. And you can use it to your advantage to turn around on people that are chasing you. Luckily, the team that was in the construction site decided not to push us until now. And I'm not really happy with my positioning here. I don't think I would have run to those shacks again. I think that I'm a little bit far to help out here, and I'm glad that Shane took this person down and we were able to finish them off. But if I went back, I would have stayed with him a little bit closer. I also, watching this back now, would have picked up the Vector that's on the ground there, or one of the SMGs in those kits. Because again, I've got a long range LMG in a building. Like, we're probably going to be in buildings looking at the rest of the zone, and it's not the best thing that I could be using. I also would go back and not use this UAV when I did. We know where this player is, right? Like, we've taken shots from them. We've downed one of their teammates. We know what the threat is, what direction it's in. I didn't need to pop that UAV. And I absolutely would have liked to have had the UAV with me later on in the match. Now, would our attention have stayed on this player? I'm not sure. That's difficult to say. We get pretty distracted being the player I am, and we're always looking for the threat in other directions, when sometimes I think we could focus on one person and one player or one team and not worry about where the other threats might be coming from. Like, you're going to get third party. It is what it is. I am happy with how I played these windows here and my position in this building. Keeping that guy from feeling comfortable enough to push in on us, shoot in one window, move to the next, communicate with your teammate, and you can pretty much defend any structure as duos, as long as you're moving around and checking your openings. We almost eat it here. If I hadn't turned around for that plate and that player had put one of us in the dirt, I'm not sure the match would have continued for us. And I'm not sure that anyone's been reading the text chat that's going on in this match, but someone's been complaining about cheaters this entire time, and we actually end up next to the alleged cheaters in this match. I down one here, and again, should have finished, right? I have a gas mask, only had one tick on it. I think you could argue made the right decision or didn't, going back and forth. You know, I do see that in the chat on the right now that someone finished that player off, but it would have been better, I think, to know that someone else is out of the fight, or, you know, keep an eye on the player count in the top right when you're playing the game, and you'll know whether or not someone else finished that. You don't really get the assist notification, which is something that I think I relied on in other games. I do make a good decision here to switch to my deployable cover, and then I completely forget about playing with the deployable cover. Again, I'm really freaked out. We're like, gotta move. There's players on our left. Although if I had remembered from the UAV, there's really no one over on that side of the map now. They're all to the right, but I didn't take a very good look at the UAV. So now we're moving up. Not such a bad place to be, honestly. A lot of cover on this side. And then I just sprint through this doorway. There was no reason for me to do that, and now I'm dead. I've put my team in a bad position. That was a solo. If we had both pushed that together or gone through different doors and used the flash grenade I had, would have been fine. Or we could have just stayed together, could have dropped the deployable cover somewhere up here if we wanted to push around left and use that to our advantage. But neither of us looked at the zone here. I'm dead. I should be helping out, calling out. You know, use your durable, stay back in the zone, stay on the cover on your right. And unfortunately, my frustration overrules my communication, and we end up in third place. So not a lot of kills, not a lot of good decision making. Could have been a much better game. Probably could have been a win, considering where the zone pulled to. And the way I played just did not assist with that goal, right? So I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I might do some more like this if people like it. Again, thank you for watching. And if you watched my last video, really appreciate that too. I think it is almost at 75 views, and that's really cool to see. So that's it. Good luck.